Hi, my name is Huria Said, and these are my team members. We have Mazuddin, that's me, Mishal Akil, and Amna Shahid. And the story that we decided to make a film opening on is about beggars and kidnappers, and its title is Silence. And these are my evaluation questions. And coming to the first question, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Before we get on to this question, let me just explain a bit about the title, Silence. Now, silence, the word silence is a reflection of the society around us. Now, you can see beggars everywhere over here in Pakistan. You go to the park, you go to the market, there are beggars everywhere. And to say that there is a group of people behind these innocent children, controlling them, making money out of them, would be very, very, very true. And the fact that everyone knows about these gangsters being amongst us and controlling these children and forcing them into begging, yet no one really does anything about this, no effective steps have been taken against them, and people resort to silence, and hence the name of our title, the title of our movie. Now, like many movies, our film opening starts with an equilibrium. Everything is happening good, everything is fine. The people in the start, they're along with their normal routines, normal life. And then at the end of the opening, there's a disequilibrium. And this disequilibrium is when something bad happens. And the film opening cuts right at that point. And this is to create enigma amongst the audience, and that is what keeps the audience watching the movie. So that was a very important point. There are two things in conventions: technical, symbolic, and over here you can see there is a proper definition where technical are camera, mise-en-scène in these technical aspects, whereas symbolic is a meaning that is derived from these technical aspects. And conventions, you could basically define conventions in media as something that is generally followed or widely known. It's stereotypically known, something that many people follow and hold true. So coming to our movie starts with a close-up shot of a bicycle wheel, as you can see over here. And we could say that this goes against the conventional way of following a film. When you study about shots, extreme wide shot is defined as a shot that usually is used in establishing shots, and this is to show the time and the location of that place in the scene, and it's very important. And I've got some examples of movies that start with a wide shot or a very wide shot, which shows a lot of the location, and it also shows the time. So we've got Kite Runner, and it starts with a wide shot. Over here you can see people moving around, they're flying kites, and clearly you can see through the mise-en-scène that this is somewhere abroad, and not in Pakistan. Over here you can see West is West, and there's a wide shot of the street in London, and you can see the cars, you can see it's kind of rainy, it's cold, and yeah. However, many movies also start with close-up shots. So we could say that the start of our movie doesn't completely contradict conventional way of film openings. Spider-Man, it starts with an extreme close-up of the eyes of the actress, I guess. And then you can see Memento, another movie. It starts with a close-up of a photograph. And then we have Little Miss Sunshine, obviously, extreme close-up of the eyes, very meaningful. I love the start. We could say that it does, and also it does not follow a conventional way of film openings. Now, in our movie, over here you can see that the kid goes inside of a house. Not a random house, but a house. Doesn't ring the bell of the house, barges inside, goes inside, knows exactly where the scrap is lying, picks it up, and then goes out. And then further on over here, you can see that this kid goes to this scrapyard, and gives the scrap to the person. He collects it, throws away, yada yada yada. Take your money, and then he leaves. And so from this, in both cases, you can see that this is actually the daily job of this kid. He knows exactly what to do when he goes inside of the house. It doesn't seem as if this is his first time. He does this normally. He goes inside. He knows where the scrap is, collects it, etc. And it doesn't ring the bell, meaning that he generally collects scrap from this house. And then over here, he meets the person, doesn't really introduce himself to the scrap dealer, and just knows exactly what to do. And from both of these actions, both of these scenes, we know that this kid normally does this job. Another important thing over here is that in the scrapyard, you can see, first of all, when I'm saying scrapyard, how do you know this is a scrapyard? I haven't really written any text to point out that this is a scrapyard, nor have I added any dialogues to say that this is a scrapyard, to show that this is a scrapyard. You can see that there's scrap lying everywhere. There shopping bags, there are rags over here all around, and then there's this man in the middle. And from strong mise-en-scène, the audience very easily gets to know that this is a scrapyard, and this person in the middle of all this scrap is the scrap dealer. Also, through actions, you can see that the kid comes over here, and this man is the person whom this kid goes to give the scrap, because and that shows that this man is in charge of dealing with people and approaching and giving money and all. So there you go. Now, let's talk about this kid. If you look at him over here, yes. If you look at him over here, he is wearing old, dusty clothes. And interesting enough, we actually told this kid to lie down on the ground and roll around in the dust so that his clothes could get dusty. And if you look at his hair, it's all messed up, and he's holding this old rag, and you can see that through mise-en-scène we actually created his character. We actually we made him look like a poor kid, and so we do not need any dialogues to show to tell the audience that this is a poor kid. But through mise-en-scène we were successfully able to convey this message to our audience. And also we made him wear oversized slippers. Over here you can see there's a mid close-up shot of his feet, and you can see his oversized slippers. And oversized obviously means that someone gave it to him in charity, or he got it from somewhere else, but these are actually not his because they're not of the right size. The bicycle that he's riding, it's actually a Sahara bike. And if you look at this, it doesn't look like a mountain bike or a bike that's in very good shape. It's actually an old bike, and this type of a bike is known as a Sahara bike. It's a Pakistani bike. So typically known to be used by people of lower income classes. You can see gardeners riding this. You can see scrap dealers, the people that scrap collectors riding this bike. So again, with mise-en-scène, we showed that this kid is a poor kid, and he's of lower income class, and he's riding this bike, collecting scrap and all. So that basically helps. And another very important signifier in our movie is over here when he goes to the Wall of Kindness. And the story of Wall of Kindness is actually very funny, which I'd further on discuss. So he goes to the Wall of Kindness, gets a jacket, and goes out. Now, obviously, a well-off person would not do that. Maybe does that, but initially, if you see someone getting something from the Wall of Kindness, the first thing that comes to your mind is, yes, this person might be needy or poor, and he's getting clothes from the Wall of Kindness, which is actually put there in the first place for the needy to take. Coming to the kidnappers, again a very important part of our story. You can see that these two guys are following this kid. Here they go. And there you go. Over here you can see this man staring at this kid from his bicycle. From his bike. And if you look at him right now, there's light shining on his back, whereas his front is dark. And that may point to where that may actually represent something dark about him. And in his mise-en-scene, you can see that he's wearing a scarf. There's a black scarf. And the audience can basically pick two different meanings from the scarf. One being that the scarf is there to basically protect him from the cold. Whereas the second meaning could be that he is hiding his identity because he may have done something illegal, or he may be about to do something illegal. And this idea may come from the stereotype that thieves, they cover their faces. Or a very common idea that thieves cover their faces. And so they may link that to this, that he's covering his face, he might be up to something bad. Now, obviously, two meanings can be derived from this. However, coupled with the way he's looking at the kid and with the sound that's been used, all of that together gives negative vibes to the audience about this man who's sitting on the motorbike. Further on, you can see that he picks up the phone. Hi. And over here, you can see his ring. And then further on, you can see a close-up of the ring as well. Here you go. And he's wearing this red ring, a gate ring. And this ring, again, may signify danger. Other than that, this ring plays another role, which is also very important. Further on in the opening, you can see that when this kid is being kidnapped, the man that's behind him is not visible. His face is cut off. You can only see his body. But his hand is over here, visible, and the ring is very conspicuous. And when the audience sees this, obviously the first thing that they link this person back to the man who was on the motorbike. And that's how they know that this man at the end is the same man who was over here on the motorbike staring at the kid. And so that's how the link has been created. Okay, now tell me this entrance does not look like the entrance of some evil person. Now clearly the mise-en-scene very clearly conveys to the audience that this person is evil. You can see him sitting in a dark room. He is smoking. Smoke, again, is something very bad. The cigarette is actually something very, very dangerous and damaging. And so the fact that the person is having a smoke, even though many people do smoke, but it can be linked to something bad, something evil. And then this person is also hidden, which gives a mysterious kind of vibe about him. And all this together with the soundtrack that has been used, which is perfectly complementing his evil character. And that's how, in a conventional way, we were able to show this man as a gangster or an evil person or someone. Now, obviously, you know that this was the same person who made him kidnap this kid. At this point, obviously, the audience would realize that this man was the same man over here, and this man was given instructions by this man to kidnap him. So all of that kind of links up afterwards. Now, coming to another important convention is that it's commonly known that kidnapping occurs in isolated and secluded areas where people aren't around. to watch or call the police or cause, you know, grab attention of other people, because obviously the kidnappers would be doomed that way. What happens is that he gets suspicious about something, turns around, ooh, there's nothing, okay, I'll just go forward, I'll ignore that. And so the kidnappers obviously have been following him for quite some time. They know they know the route through which he goes to his house, and so they find the perfect opportunity and comes to kidnap him. So this is another common idea, that kidnapping happens in places that are isolated and secluded, which is exactly what we've shown over here in the opening. Now the ending is my personal favorite, because in the ending you can see that first of all it dips to black very rapidly, and then the title kind of emerges from the darkness, and as it emerges from the darkness you can see the drop of blood spilling down, falling down. In the background is actually the sound of children singing, which has a cheerful touch to it, however has painful undertones to it as well. And this kind of manipulates the emotions of the audience and creates empathy amongst them from the thrill that was created over here in the start, because of the dramatic sound effect as he's being kidnapped, and then boom, a boom sound effect cuts right there, and then the cheerful singing yet painful sound, and this makes the audience very emotional and gives them chills, and that is exactly what was intended, and it perfectly came together and looks amazing. And so if you've not noticed yet, the social groups that we're representing are beggars and kidnappers. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? First of all, any form of media is basically a real media text. Now, our film opening is basically about a story which is about begging, kidnapping, something that is dramatic, it's emotional, and it's obviously it's linked with criminal activities and stuff. And this kind of this genre is popular amongst a wide range of ages, but the target audience that we've chosen is youth, because the youngsters are easily swayed, they can be easily inspired. They will be the ones to do something in the future for us, to make a change, to bring about a change, to work and inspire others. And so again, targeting them would be a very intelligent thing to do, because youngsters are nowadays extremely accessible through social media platforms, and so that way we could efficiently promote our media text to them through social media platforms. Now, one of the actors that we had in our film opening was Saim Rahman, who has a YouTube channel called Nameless, and he makes skits and is very good at making them. He's very funny, actually, and so you could say that he's a very skillful actor. And as you can see, we chose our actors very carefully, the people who could act and the people who were able to talk with their emotions and with their acting, and that's exactly what we wanted, because we didn't really want to use a lot of dialogues. We used expressions and acting instead to convey a message to the audience. And then other than that, we also used other forms of non-verbal communications, such as mise-en-scène. Talked before in question number 1 how our mise-en-scène was kept strong, such as the props, the properties, the Sora bike, the old clothes of the kid over here. I'm so sorry. Yep, right here, yeah. So you can see he's wearing old clothes, there's rag, he's dusty, his hair is messed up, and all of that implies that he is, well, he's not someone from middle class or an upper class, so definitely not upper class. And then over here you can see how mise-en-scène shows that he's an evil character. Same goes over here for the kidnapper. And so we tried to use nonverbal communication as much as we could, and signifiers to signify different meanings and convey the desired message to our audience. So since our budget was low, so we had to use below the line marketing, which uses less money but is also very effective. And below the line marketing, meaning the best way of below the line marketing is social media platforms. And that's exactly what we did. We posted our film opening on Vimeo, we posted it on YouTube, we posted it on Instagram, on Facebook, and basically posted it everywhere we could to reach our audience, to get their feedback, to reach them specifically. And as you know, Web 2.0 is a very accessible platform, and it's not just to connect with the people, the local people, but also the international audience. So using Web 2.0 allowed us, especially YouTube. Facebook is private and only has friends with you, unless your settings are public. But YouTube and Vimeo, they actually do reach out to international audiences. And when we posted our film opening online on social media platforms such as YouTube, such as Instagram and Facebook, we got a lot of positive responses. And one of the response was very satisfying. This man said, I want to see more of it. And this was a success for me, because when he said he wanted to see more, that means that Enigma was created. He was curious to know what else was happening in the movie, what had to come next after he was kidnapped. And so our work here was done. That's exactly how I wanted it to be, and it was very satisfying to know that that the Enigma factor really worked and the audience really wanted to see more. Other than that, we had all other types of comments appreciating our work, and that really helped us know that our hard work had finally paid off. So you cannot get audience feedback until and unless you reach out to them, and the best way to reach out to them is by using social media platforms. We could have used posters to be distributed in our school. Now, every one of us have changed schools, have friends in different schools, in different cities, and we could use that as an advantage. We could make posters, or not just posters, but we could actually tell our friends to spread the word about our media, text about our film opening in their schools with their friends, and then they would further on discuss it with their friends and their relatives and family members. And that's how our media text would be promoted even further beyond the confines of our school.